Host Locke, and this is the podcast where we drink, smoke, and bullshit about the life of a historic criminal. Now we're talking outlaws and gangsters. We're not going to cover too many serial killers. That's just a little bit dark for me, and this ain't no true crime podcast. Honestly, you can't call this a history podcast because I'm no historian. I'm just a history fan that does some research and bullshits about it with his friends. So speaking of my friends, let me introduce you to my co-host. So first with us today, we got Tone.
What's up?
And then also with us, we got the Duke, Dan the Man.
What up, everybody?
All right, welcome to the podcast, guys. So Tone, what'd you bring to drink today?
I went and got the New Belgium Voodoo Ranger variety pack. Right now I have a Juicy Haze IPA.
I had the Juicy Haze one
Yeah.
on the podcast actually once because I got a Voodoo Ranger little pack before too.
Okay, yeah.
It was pretty good.
Oh, you didn't crack one yet, though.
I'm about to crack this one. That one's pretty good.
All right, Duke, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking some Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale. It's from Lexington Brewery and Distillery, which, being from Michigan, when I first typed it up, there's one from Lexington, Michigan, and that's what I thought it was, but no, this is straight from Kentucky. But what it is it's their Irish ale, but they put it in bourbon barrels, and then they let it age for like at least 6 weeks or something in the barrels. So it's got that little bourbon twang on the end there. And I like it. I just picked it up last week for the hell of it, and it might be one of my favorite beers.
It's pretty high gravity, too, right?
Yeah, it's 8.2%. So I had to do the job.
That's that tank shit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I didn't realize that was Irish ale. I got today the Founder's Dirty Bastard. It's one of my favorite Founder's beer, but it's a Scotch ale. So we kept our ales very Celtic. He went all the way over to Asia. All right. Well, before we get started, we got to make sure we got to thank Sixfo Sueno for letting us use his music in the intro. Go follow him on social media or subscribe to his YouTube. We also got Cancer, who does our song in the mid-roll, Blood. And then he also did our cover art, which you can see on his Instagram on Eyes Bleed Defiance. And if you can't find them, you can go click through on our website, badguypodcast.com. And you can go there and go to the link and click straight through from the website if you need to.
Which, it took me a minute to find them on Amazon Music because the E is actually a 3.
Oh, yeah.
So that might fuck you up if you just type in Cancer. It's Cancer with a 3 as the E.
And then you follow us. Our Instagram is Bad Guy Podcast on Instagram. We're pushing in on 2,000 followers. And then our Twitter, Bad Guy Pod, we only got like 100 something, but we were at 14. So 100's pretty good. So if you go follow us on Twitter, I'd appreciate it. And we got a Facebook page now, too. Say hello to the Bad Guy Podcast Facebook.
Oh, all right.
14 to like 100, that's like almost doubled.
Well, we'll go ahead and get started. And the bad guy we're covering today is Brigette Mohnhaupt.
This ain't negotiation time. This is Scarface, final scene, fucking bazookas under each arm. Say hello to my little friend.
Ooh, is it a bad lady, or is this just one of those names that in other countries is unisex?
Yeah, is it like Brigitte?
Nope, it's Brigitte. It's a female,
Brigitte.
for sure.
Oh, shit.
Brigitte was born June 24th, 1949 in Rheinberg, West Germany. She graduated in 1967 and attended the University of Munich as a philosophy student. In Munich, she became active in the communal living scene and married a man named Rolf Hausler in 1968, who she ended up divorcing 2 years later. She became active in the student movement, participating in mass protests.
So that's why she just started living free, hooked up with some dude, and then realized this was a mistake, got divorced, and now she's still doing her activism thing with the student movement. All right.
These pictures right here, this is all the West German student movement.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about the Germany, anything. I was about to say in the 60s, but I don't know shit about them in anything. So, like, what is the 60s student movement? Like, what was going on? Because I always got this weird feeling that Germany is, like, almost like a mini Russia. Like, they just squashed that shit. But, like, this is a whole lot of protesting going down.
Well, I don't know a ton about it, but, you know, like the Ronald Reagan, the Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the wall. So, I mean, it was... Half of it was, you know, the Germany that had previously been Nazi Germany. And then the other side was the communist faction of Germany, the other side of the Iron Curtain.
Yeah, all right.
They were primarily like pro-communist and anti-Nazi.
Right.
Pretty much the same as American 60s. I mean, that's kind of what our hippies were doing too, right?
Right.
So she participated in mass protests, including a 1969 USA Cultural Center Vietnam War protest.
Man, so she's just a social justice warrior. She's just out there in the streets with a sign ready to picket.
You name it, she's ready to go. She became obsessed with Carlos Marighell's Manual of the Urban Guerrilla and became a member of the Socialist Patience Collective. After the collective's disbandment in 1971, her and another female commune member joined the far-left militant organization, the Red Army Faction, a.k.a. the RFA.
Or the RAF.
A.k.a. the RAF.
Alright, so now she's putting down the sign, picking up some weaponry.
Right. Well, and specifically, she started off working in logistics and weapon procurement. The RAF was known for like frequent bombings, and Brigitte quickly moved up the RAF ranks.
She was really about it. She just really went in deep, started getting guns, and just
So
started
she was
running
doing the
her
bombings, or?
Well, at first she was in logistics and weapon procurement, which is like, that's like the more the behind the scenes type stuff. But then the RAF, it seemed like they brought in a lot of females, because she would work with a lot of females over the course of this. But as some of these other girls would start getting into explosives or any kind of more violent acts, she would start trying to work her way in on that too.
Mm-hmm. She was go-getter.
Yeah, she started off in the mailroom and worked her way all the way to...
One day, I'll be on the grill. Start on lettuce, work your way up to fries.
On June 9th, 1972, she was arrested and convicted in connection with a criminal organization, document forgery, and possession of an illegal firearm.
Just being riffraff.
If she was Jack McGurn, it'd be vagrancy.
Well, no, it seems like they caught her with some fake documents, some fake guns and shit. Or real guns, but like, not legal guns.
She was held in Stamheim Prison, which is a supermax prison made famous for holding political prisoners. So, you know how we talk a lot about prisons? Like, there's a lot of prisons where people just walk out and shit?
There's a lot of open doors.
Yeah. That's not this prison.
Yeah, that's a big-ass wall.
They keep all them doors shut.
And if you see, that's a big-ass wall, and then it's got another fence with the barbed wire on top.
Right.
It looks like it's shaped like a big cruise ship.
Yeah, it does, actually.
The RAF members were held in a cell block especially designed for them, and it was thought to be the most secure prison in the world. The roof and courtyard were covered with steel mesh, and at night was illuminated with 54 spotlights and 23 neon bulbs. Special Force snipers guarded the roof, and 400 police officers patrolled the building, with mounted police officers oscillating in double shifts around the prison.
Damn, ain't nobody getting out of that one.
Then they would also have helicopters, 2 at a time, that would monitor from the sky. The prisoners were so high security, they wouldn't move them out of the prison, so they would just do all their trials and court dates there. And on those court dates, they would bring in an extra 100 federal guards for security on trial days.
God damn, who's her cellmate, Dr. Doom? Like,
Right, who are they
kind of
holding up in there?
motherfuckers they got in there?
You said it was for what kind of criminals?
Political prisoners.
Political
Yeah.
prisoners. I guess there'd be some crazy.
But also that political prisoner means motherfuckers out there bombing people and shit.
Yeah.
Well, political prisoners depends on who you're asking. If you ask the RAF, they're political prisoners. If you ask the German government, they're terrorists. Yeah, it's the difference between Leavenworth is a maximum security prison, but it's not Guantanamo Bay. So while she's in prison, she spent a lot of time with what's known as the first generation RAF leaders, who were all in there serving long sentences, or they were all in the process of doing trials for various crimes. When you look at the RAF, they were around for a while, but like all the founders eventually all ended up in prison. But there were still people running on the street, and as they would cycle new guys into the prison, the original guys, the first generation RAF members, would kind of work as like mentors to the new guys that got in.
So at this point, the RAF was just like a street gang, and once you got in there, the older gang members would just take you under their wing.
Yeah, it's like La M.A., you know, time to take this more serious. While in there, she spent a lot of time with those first generation leaders, and they basically groomed her up to be a leader on the streets. And she ended up getting released on February 8th, 1977.
So how long was she in there total?
5 years. As soon as she gets out of Stamheim prison, she immediately went underground and decided the time was right to escalate the RAF's violent tendencies. I don't really want to go into the politics of it. Basically, they were communists and they were anti-Nazi. So just anybody that was like government workers that had previously worked in the old Nazi regime or any type of like, just anything that was like capitalist, like bankers, work leaders was kind of their target.
They were almost down for illegalism.
Right.
Anyone that was in the system is their enemy. Yeah, so Lola, she just was locked up for 5 years, got out, was ready to fuck some shit up.
I mean, that's basically, yeah, they groomed her for that while they're in there 5 years. Like, hey, you're going to get out at some point. Here's what the game plan is.
So they didn't just, like, mix up. It was just general population in there, like men and women.
Yeah, well, not with the rest of the prison, but only on the RAF cell block. They just kept them all together with a group. I don't know why, but because that's one of the things that I had.
That's the best thing. You lock all the RAF people up just to put them all together. Like, you guys just get to have meetings all of the time. 24/7 meetings.
And that's what they did, basically. Is they're like, oh, all right, well, then we're going to teach some of these other girls how to become terrorists then.
You know what? We're not even going to separate the men from the women. You guys can just all hang out at your own little shit. Since they're communists and whatever, that was their own little community. There's no currency in jail, so they had to work out their own currency. That's almost their dream.
Right.
What's more Marxist than sitting all within the prison?
So she put together a commando group primarily existing of females, but there's other guys too. But she operated with a lot of women, and they participated in a series of assassinations. So
she got her own little, like, Kill Bill, Fox Force 5 group going?
Yeah, because I guess I was thinking like a bad Charlie's Angels, but that's because I haven't really seen Kill Bill.
Yeah.
On April 7th, 1977, German Attorney General Siegfried Buback was traveling home.
Buback.
Well, it's probably Babak or something. Like, and there probably was like dots over that U.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just typed it in there.
So does Buback get Blueback?
While his Mercedes was stopped at a red light, a motorcycle pulled up next to him with a rider and a passenger. They were both wearing matching outfits and helmets. And the passenger fired 15 shots with an HK-43 rifle into the car. Buback and his driver died on site, and Judicial Officer George Worcester died 6 days later.
Now, you said that's a rifle. What kind of gun is that? Because you say rifle, but is it like a long barrel two-handed rifle?
Yeah.
That they're just person riding bitch on the back just carrying around the rifle?
A big-ass rifle, yeah.
That's some assassin shit.
That's crazy, though. They pull up. That is Charlie's Angels. Like, they pull up on a dirt bike, matching outfits.
I hope these women are sexy.
Some sexy assassins. Yeah, we love to murder people.
I had looked up the gun because that was one of the questions I knew would come up. Yeah, it's a full-size assault rifle.
Damn.
And it seemed like
you thought we couldn't handle this big gun? You bet your sweet ass we can, big boy. But yeah, she just got her own little group of sexy women ninjas out here riding dirt bikes. Like.
We haven't confirmed that yet. We just we decided that amongst ourselves.
Well, I
don't even want to see the picture. Just put up a picture of Cameron Diaz and whoever else.
Yeah, that's Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu on the bike.
On July 30th, 1977, Jürgen Ponto,
Jürgen.
He was a German banker. He was the chairman of the bank board of directors, and he was packing with his wife for a vacation to Rio de Janeiro. While he's getting ready, he receives a visit from a friend of the family's daughter, who he was not aware was a RAF member. She was accompanied by Brigitte and a male friend, and they show up, and the guy knows the girl, so she lets him in. They brought Jurgen's wife roses. So they give her the roses, and she goes to take the roses to put them in a vase. And while she's gone, she hears a struggle and gunshots. And when she came back, Jurgen was shot 5 times. He died that night in a hospital, and the 3 assassins fled in a waiting car.
Damn. And they just killed him because he was a rich banker. Part of the system, man. Well, I'm sure
cogs in the wheels.
If you get into the intricacies of, like, the German politics and shit, I'm sure the guy probably had something to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, they had to kill him off or something.
Like,
right?
if the Germans said, like, somebody assassinated the Koch brothers, like, they wouldn't know, like, the Koch brothers.
Well, and I think that's how most of these guys are. I was trying to stick to the sexy assassin side of the story and not get way into the politics. Because
that's what I'm saying. That's a complete different show, and that's a whole lot more research on you. Like, there's a good chance you would get it all wrong. Like, that's too deep of shit. We're going to stick to dirt bike assassins.
Right. Well, what I know is she's already killed enough people. She did time in jail, so whatever your politics are, we could still categorize her as a bad guy. Like you said, I would fuck up that research anyways. I did look up the gun, It's a full it's a full-length assault rifle. I know that. But, you know, I didn't look too into the politics.
But that's smooth. Like, that's straight out of a movie. Like, I can see them showing up with the rose. It's a normal thing. Then the camera following her into the kitchen. Then you hear the struggle off scene. And then it comes back to them gone and just the body on the floor.
I'm just thinking Arnold from Terminator.
I was thinking that too. Like
Terminator 2, right?
If there's a shotgun in that box. Come with me if you want to live. He was the male friend that she brought.
Yeah, so it was Sarah Connor, the Terminator.
Brigitte, Sarah, and Arnold.
I mean, she kind of sounds like a Sarah Connor type, right? She's been training us for this a long time, like hanging out with different fucking soldiers and
showing off scientists.
She hates robots.
So the next hit was a guy named Hans Martin Scheiler.
I knew eventually a fucking Hans was going to show up.
He was an industrialist and businessman. He was the head of the Confederation of German Employee Associations.
What a dick.
Well, and he was the head of the Federation of German Industries. So he was just like a labor leader.
Yeah.
But he was also a former SS officer. So there's that. On September 5th, 1977, Hans was in his car with a separate police escort when a baby carriage suddenly got pushed in front of the car. Hans' car slammed on the brakes so hard that the police escort crashed into the back of the car. 5 RFA commandos jumped out and gunned down the driver and 3 policemen. Hans was pulled out of the car and thrown into a getaway van.
Damn, they ain't fucking around. They know what they're doing.
Those bodies?
Yeah.
So how many guards did they end up taking out?
They gunned down the driver and 3 policemen.
What happened to the baby?
The baby gonna be good, man?
Was the baby all right?
And the baby wasn't even part of their plan. It was just perfect timing.
You know?
Like, holy shit, it's a gift from God. Go.
Yeah, some mother gave up on their child at that moment in time.
Children are a blessing.
Hans was pulled out of the car and thrown into a getaway van. The RAF demanded release of a list of imprisoned members in return for Hans.
Yeah, a little play or trade.
The German government refused based on their policy of not negotiating with terrorists.
They were perfectly fine with trading lives to get their Nazi boy back. But like we would, but we just don't negotiate.
The requested prisoners were soon found dead in their cells. After the RAF members found out that the prisoners that they were asking for release were killed in prison.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye, Hans.
Well, yeah. On October 18th, 1977, Hans was shot dead and found left in the trunk of an Audi on the side of a road.
Well, I mean, they had to have known that was going to happen when they killed the prisoners. And
Right.
I'm assuming the government had to have been the ones killing those prisoners. So, what the fuck did they expect to happen?
They might not have cared. I mean, that had to be a push.
Fuck Hans, he was a dick anyways. We didn't even like him.
This series of events, in addition to the hijacking of a Lufthansa airplane, became what's known as the German Autumn, which is based on the name of a German movie that was out at the time, but that whole series of events was called the German Autumn. So it was a bunch of different murders and bombings, and then a hijacking of a plane. What's crazy is I've only heard of the Lufthansa airport twice, and once is when they rob it in Goodfellas, and the second time is when they hijack it in the German Autumn.
Don't fly Lufthansa.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound good. But that's great that they had... There's like just a whole season of... It was RAF season, and it was autumn.
It's kind of like, what was it, the Summer of Sam?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I wonder if that's where they got the whole Arab Spring from. This was the German Autumn. That was the Irish Spring.
Or Arab Spring. You said Irish Spring then.
Didn't I? Yeah. Hey, I like soap.
That's the refreshing. It is a refreshing soap, bro.
Oh, weird fact. Irish Spring, made from Germany.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's cultural appropriation, brother. You can't do that.
They don't believe in that in Germany.
I mean, I think they're both white. You can do that.
Irish or Germany, I don't see color. Mainly because we're both very, very white.
It's very hard to tell the difference.
Until he starts speaking, how are we to know?
Heightened government pressure was on Brigitte's commando unit, and they had to go into hiding.
Well, yeah, I would think so. They're out here bombing motherfuckers and stealing planes.
You know what? Actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a smoke break. We'll refill our drinks, and we'll be back in a minute.
We're gonna lay a little low.
cross streets. We puffin' on the smoke of genocide and we all cheap. More silent than Nostradamus' ominous forecast. I'm spitting in all caps, you listening all fast. I'm talking about airstrikes, ranks, mines, missiles, tanks, kids in bandanas and masks, waving pistols and max. We'll overthrow the government one day. Matter of fact, grab a gun, we'll see you next Sunday. I'm the antithesis of conformity. I can weather the storm, storm like the beach in Normandy. I'ma ring the alarm like my blood is thicker than boat rope, thicker than a brick, put the game in a chokehold, thicker than the water under refugees' hope floats. I'm thicker than the cake in the Dominicans' coke notes. Yeah, my soul is darker than warfare and heavy as the chassis on a 62 Corvair. Slipping through the cracks, you know the system ain't all fair. I had to steal a 50 just to get me some bus fare. I'm out of here.
And we're back. You can put your headphones on? I mean, you don't have to. And we're back.
Tone, are you going to put those on? Are we?
We're thinking about it.
We're not going to go on till you put them on. We can stay.
Last time we had a whiskey drink, we had the old fashions,
Mm-hmm.
which were pretty good.
Yeah, those are pretty damn good.
And then we drank a Paloma. But both of those times, my wife made them, and she's like a bartender, so she knows how to do it. So today, I didn't have that option, so I had to make it. So I found something that's simpler. So I made a highball, but it's a whiskey drink. I don't know, did you guys try yours at all?
I didn't try it yet. I was going to ask you what it was and what's in it and everything.
Well, it's a highball. It's a whiskey drink. Takes a whiskey drink.
I got
she takes
that.
a vodka drink.
I was thinking that the second you said a whiskey drink. No, it's good. Obviously, it's a whiskey drink, but like, what other things are in it?
It's whiskey, a citrus. I use Tullamore Dew, and then ginger ale. So I use Verner's. So even though Irish whiskey isn't local, we use Verner's, and that's local.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just whiskey, ginger ale, and a citrus. So you
Nice.
can pick one.
Word?
I think it's pretty good. I think you did a good job.
It's great because I made the joke before, but whenever you say Tullamore Dew, I always think it's like a place out of Lord of the Rings. Like I think of Tullamore Dew.
Right.
And then when I was
Mordor.
going through the whiskey aisle, whatever, I saw the thing and like it's Tullamore Dew. Like, but for some reason, like when you say it, just Tullamore Dew. Like it just comes up like, is that Latin?
I'm a little disappointed though.
Why is that?
No Han Solo's ice cubes.
Well, this is my new thing though. I got these square ones.
There you go.
Yeah, it's hip to be square, as my boy Huey Luton would say.
I'm constantly stepping up my ice game. So now not only do I got the Death Stars and the Han Solos, I got these square ones, but we got these super small ones now, which it's good for like some of the more of the foo-foo drinks because
Okay.
it makes like a smaller, like almost like a chipped ice type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I got all the ices.
Fufu drinks.
And are you trying to knock his ice game?
No, I just want Hans.
He brings the ruckus when it comes to them ice. See what Han? You mean the Death Star? I never got a Hans one. All I got was the Death Stars.
Yeah, I got Han Solo and Kryptonite.
Oh, see, all I got was the dark side.
Well, I mean,
And it's carbonite, not kryptonite.
yeah, I know that in my head too.
It was to stop Superman from ever being able to save him.
It's this highball. This fucking got me saying
I was
Kryptonite.
like, damn, I knew Superman existed in Star Wars.
Whiskey drinks always make my franchises blend.
Carbonite. My bad, man. Fucking- I'm so disappointed in myself. I really am.
Sorry, you guys. I got it all mixed up. I'm
nerd.
sorry, my mistake.
So when we left off, Brigitte, just basically did the German Autumn and had to go undercover with her group of commandos.
We blew up too many people. Now they had to go into hiding for a little bit. Calm shit down, Brigitte. You're getting a little too funky.
They go into hiding, and 4 of them ended up getting caught in Zagreb, Yugoslavia on May 11th, 1978.
Damn, they were catching them across borders.
I mean, I guess they were really trying to lay low, though. They were laying like Yugoslavia low.
Yeah, that's low.
The Yugoslavian government tried to make a deal to extradite the RAF to West Germany in exchange for the release of 8 Croatian political prisoners. When the German government refused, the Yugoslavian government released Brigitte's commando group and allowed them to travel to a country of their choice. So Germany really does not negotiate.
Yeah, not at all. Like, fuck you guys. As soon as someone says, let's make a deal, Germany's like, 9. We will not.
After the capture in Yugoslavia, they were able to successfully stay underground for years without being heard of or seen. September 15, 1981, she took part in the assassination attempt of U.S. Army General Frederick Croson, who at that time was the commander of the U.S. Armed Forces in Europe.
Damn, so that was like her popping out of retirement?
Yeah. He was traveling in his armored Mercedes in Heidelberg, Germany. The vehicle was hit with an RPG.
Armored Mercedes?
They ain't taking him out like that other guy where he just pulled up with a baby carriage and got fucking snatched up. No, we're making this one bulletproof. Baby carriage just come whipping out. We're just driving through it. My bad, baby. Should have been there.
Keep your fucking baby carriage out the street. We're coming through.
I ain't trying to get snatched up because the German people are definitely not going to negotiate for me.
Well, and that fucker was armored too because he survived the attack.
Nice.
So he got hurt pretty bad, but America, fuck yeah.
America.
Our Mercedes take RPGs to the face.
He just tanked that shit.
I mean, it really has more to do with Mercedes, which is Mercedes even an American car, or is that a German car?
You have a picture of that car?
It pretty much just took it in the rear.
It sure did.
Out.
But for real, it's like, just the trunk is fucked up on that car.
Look at that one.
I mean, the trunk is definitely fucked up, but it definitely seems like, yeah, replace that trunk hood. The car's still pretty good.
Croson was injured in the attack but survived. Now, this led to an increase in money and manpower in the search for Brigitte and her commando unit. On November 11th, 1982, Brigitte and another female RAF member were spotted entering a weapons cache in the woods near Frankfurt that was being surveilled by federal agents. They put together a quick raid and then snatched her up, and she ended up getting charged with the murders of Siegfried Bobak, Jürgen Ponto, and Hans Martin Schleier, as well as the attempted assassination of Frederick Croson, and she is sentenced to 5 life terms.
Damn.
So pretty much they just baited her with guns. They knew where a gun cache was. They're like, all right, we know this bitch loves weapons. Eventually she's gonna like I picture like a mousetrap. She's like a mouse. She just comes out and like she starts sniffing. Like she walks around all the guns for a little bit. She finally goes for one.
So who convicted her? Was that the German government?
Yeah, the German government.
Okay.
The federal government's like Wile E. Coyote.
I think that she picked up a gun, then a weird series of events happened, like a diver jumping into a cup that went into a teeter-totter that flipped over a marble that went, and then eventually a net came and fell on her.
Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah. But that's great. Like, she laid low for so long, but she just couldn't stay out of the game. She had to come back for that one last hit. They finally got her for everything.
It's a reoccurring thing we talk about on this podcast all the time. When you fuck with the American federal government,
that
shit's a wrap. Like,
yeah.
You could go like state to state, do little county shit, local, you can even kill German people. We don't care. American feds, though, if that's a general, you son of a bitch.
Which, I mean,
it's crazy, man.
I for one, I'm not all about the state, but yeah, there is definitely something about like, yeah, fuck you other countries, you try to kill our general, fuck off. Like, fuck you Germany trying to kill our general. That's our dickhead. Like, I get to hate him because I'm American.
He survived all these wars and stuff like that, and Brigitte, the University of Munich dropout, is shooting him with an RPG and shit. Like, what the fuck, man?
He survived that too, though. So.
Yeah. I will say all of her shit was all about style, too. She didn't do no stupid little shit. They were on bikes with rifles, fucking RPGs, fucking baby carriages, gripping people out.
She followed that book. She was a guerrilla.
And she started as just one of those simple little student protesters, and look what happened.
They should charge more for that book. That shit works.
Yeah.
That book's accurate.
That shit turns you into a fucking soldier.
Now I start sounding like one of the crazy right where you see this is why you have to crush the student protests now, because they grow up like Brigitte. Like, this should be the poster child of why they have to stop all these little protests before they grow up.
So what year was this that they finally convicted her with all this?
1982.
Damn, so she got a good less than 20 years.
Yeah. Well, at her sentencing, she declared the RAF would fight on, but her imprisonment was like a huge blow. Like, she became basically the head leader of the second generation of the RAF. The RAF operated in lesser capacity for over a decade, but after the dissolution of the USSR in 1991, the RAF officially announced their dissolvement on April 20th, 1998, after 28 years. The RAF has been charged responsible with 34 murders. By the 2000s, many German politicians fell into favor of letting the imprisoned RAF members out. What a lot of them said was that at this point, the RAF prisoners had did more time than any Nazi war criminals had. And then no matter how many life terms you get a parole, like a 24-year minimum. So you could do 10 life years or whatever, but you at least got to do 24. Another thing is it said that keeping them in prison made them look like martyrs as political prisoners.
Yeah.
And they did they interviewed psychologists and shit and basically said that they didn't think there was a threat no more. On March 25th, 2007, despite widespread controversy, an appellate court gave Brigitte her parole.
Damn. She's back out on the streets.
How old is she now then?
She was given a new identity, and she's currently 71 years old and hasn't been in any trouble since her release. So she's still alive. She's 71. So that was 13 years ago, so she would have been 58.
So she's 71 now?
Yeah, she's 71 today.
Okay.
Damn,
she's still
See,
kicking.
I was going to say, like, man, that's so crazy. People just talk about Nazis, just bring Nazis all the way, like, comparing it to, like, yeah, they went in jail longer than Nazis, but then I realized, no, this is in Germany, where they really, like, scaling it to Nazis means something to them, like, that's where they were, like.
That's an official governmental precedent.
Yeah, they have Nazi war criminals in their prisons. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, there it makes sense. But that's crazy that they would be in there for longer than Nazis.
The biggest advocate against letting them out was Conrad Freiberg, who was the president of the police union. He had lost 10 officers to the RAF. He was like, no, those were my cops that they killed. I think we should keep them in prison and shit.
Yeah, it's really all just hit me now, like, yeah, why are they just letting up? This is a terrorist organization. Like, they straight blew people up. We're killing bankers and shit. They just look like well, they are, because they're fucking terrorists and they bomb people. What the fuck?
That's exactly what they look like. They are political. They are political prisoners.
I mean, I guess I would have to hear more about how the German police did it. Like, were they just rounding up people for being RAF members, or are these people convicted of, like, trying to blow people up and shit? Because, I mean, if they're just snatching people up just for being RAF members and that's it, then, I mean, that's a little rough. But then again, why are you a RAF member unless you are down with getting weapons and blowing some shit up?
Well, and you've been caught doing it not once, not twice. Like, you can't leave you alone for fucking a couple years without you finding, like, you know what, I found an RPG. Who do you know that's important we could shoot it at?
Let's find the Mercedes.
You know?
We're just shit. The other Mercedes got rear-ended and shit. They're like, all right, I don't know, but as soon as we find a Mercedes, we're fucking that trunk up.
All right, so that's the story of Brigette Mohnhaupt.
So say good night to the bad guy. Go on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you.
So now we got to cast this. So you guys haven't seen a picture of her yet, but if we had to make a movie about Brigette Mohnhaupt, who would you cast to play her?
Well, you can go ahead if you got any thoughts. Because I'm just thinking.
I'm going with the sexy assassin. I don't even care how she looks like.
See, that's where my
I'm getting
mind...
Black Widow vibes, so I'm going with Scarlett Johansson.
Well, see, that's what
She's German. That's a super white chick. Like, that's not.
See, I was thinking the same thing. Like, in my mind, I was thinking kind of Karen Gilliam, but I think Charlize Theron would be good. She's she's pretty much just an action star at this point.
Yeah, but I didn't think of Charlize Theron, but yeah, she's the action female. Yeah. Like, she kicks ass at it. She does her stunts and shit.
But that being said, there are actually a lot of good action chicks now. Like, Zoe Saldana's good, but I don't think she can play a German chick. No. Then I was thinking Karen Gilliam, but...
Who's Karen Gilliam?
She plays Nebula, and she's the redhead on Jumanji. She's Irish, though, so...
Oh, that's she's the same girl? I didn't know that.
Yeah, but she's... See, so she fits.
Dance fighting.
Yep.
Dance fighting.
I was thinking Uma Thurman, but that's almost too cliche casting because she was in Kill Bill, and I think she's kind of too old at this point.
So these are pictures of Brigette Mohnhaupt.
Okay.
All right. I mean, not really completely.
She's got a strong face. But she's not too bad looking.
It kind of helps when you know they're a little badass. Like Ronda Rousey,
Right.
It's kind of hot, but half of it is because she's Ronda Rousey.
Right.
You know, that's a good call. I can see Ronda Rousey playing her.
Yeah.
She got kind of a Ronda Rousey look. She got them smoky eyes.
She kind of a Drew Barrymore look from that movie.
Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
So she'd do the moonwalk out of the room. Here, I got a couple more pictures of her. These are like older.
Oh.
Oh yeah, way older and a
That
little
one,
more.
that
beat
one
up.
on the left looked like she got beat the fuck up or something.
All them
that's-
them bombings really add the years.
That's that on the run life.
Man. Goddamn, terrorism will age you like meth.
Shit.
Presidential years.
Yeah.
All right, so now we gotta do the Defcon scale. So standard Defcon scale is 5 to 1, 5 being the lowest, 1 being the highest. But on the Bad Guy podcast, nobody's a good guy. So 5 is Lee Murray, who's your crack dealing, kidnapping, bank robber, and 1 would be the Purple Gang, who's got multiple massacres, multiple gang wars, and they're killing people on the street. So on a scale of Lee Murray to the Purple Gang, where would you rate Brigitte?
I don't know, she sort of just seemed like one of those ladies who just, her political beliefs got away from her. She's just bombing people and assassinating people. I mean, she took charge of a terrorism organization and shit. She's definitely above the average, I would say. Yeah, she's a 2, and she's not quite a 1 because she doesn't have that ultimate malicious nature to her, but she's definitely above the average killer because she's just blowing people up for being bankers.
She was only attached to about 5, right?
It was 3 high-profile murders, and then, the drivers and the, police officers and the security and stuff like that, and then the general, which wasn't a killing. It was an attempted assassination.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
even if you weren't there, if you're a high-up member, you're still like...
Well, if you're the one planning it, if you're putting
Yeah.
it together. Well, no, I'm actually with you because I was like, fuck, because most of the females we've done so far have been just barely criminals. But yeah, I was thinking like a 2, at least a 2.
Yeah, I would go with about a 3.
A 3?
That was perfect. I was thinking 2, at least a 2. Yeah, I'm gonna go 3. I'm a beg to differ on that one, homeboy.
I don't know. It's not like she was a psychopath or anything like that. Like, she just she killed for her cause.
She's disillusioned. Right, whether you can argue about the cause or the right or the wrong or whatever, but
whatever she believed
Full-
in,
full
I mean,
Full disclosure, I was kind of thinking of 3, but I always pick 3. And I was like, all right, she's blowing people up with RPGs.
yeah, I
so
mean,
that's
she's killing people, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like, it's not like,
she's killing the game, son.
hey, you open the door and fucking, I don't know.
right.
No, I definitely feel she's close to being a 3, but I don't know, something just pushed her to a 2 for me.
Just like the Catholics killing people. You know? That's her cause.
We don't talk about the troubles on this podcast.
I mean,
We
really,
got Irish listeners. They'll be so sad. You guys talking about the troubles? Right on the air. I'm sorry. We didn't mean to.
Sorry, I'm Catholic.
But yeah, I mean, you brought it up. One of my favorite clips. This guy was having problems with the city, and he went and shot up the council, or went to a council meeting with a gun and like shot some people, and then he got taken out by the cops. But then they interviewed his brother, and his brother was definitely not quite all there. But he's like, yeah, he was going to whoa. And they're like, excuse me. He went in. They were like, yeah, what's the difference between all these nations going to woe and him deciding to go? He was declaring woe on them. Like, and this was kind of them, like a little bit more like the only difference between the RAF and a legit political movement was just the German government decided they were terrible. But yeah, her shit was like her little organization going to war with the state.
Right.
But that's my problem. Like, I almost understand the going after the general more than I do like going after the banker and shit. Like, that's when you lose me, when you start going after like civilians and shit.
Yeah, and they did a lot of civilians. But I don't know, where it's weird because where we call them civilians, there's always a lot of security and police escorts for civilians.
And when you're
You know what I
talking
mean?
about
Like-
political shit, and we've gone into this a lot with like the mob and corrupt politicians and shit, but like also just rich businessmen being in league with politics to make political change. Sometimes those rich businessmen are way more important than anyone that actually got voted into office.
Right.
So like I said earlier with like the Koch brothers example, like who knows who that banker guy like was in terms of that in the German world.
Right. Nobody they picked seems super random.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
is-
Brigitte knew her shit.
I mean, she was kind of like Bane. She was trained in hell. Well, no, she'd been more like Batman. She was trained in hell. She wasn't born in hell.
Right.
I was born in protest. You simply adopted the activism.
All right, so we're gonna call her. I think that's MMA scoring. I said 2, so we'll go. You said 2, so majority decision 2.
Take it to Defcon 2.
You heard that, gentlemen? Defcon 2.
Take that, Tone.
So that'd be officially the highest female.
She looks like the highest female in that picture.
Was meth a thing back then?
I really think that's just that guerrilla living. I mean, I don't know. There might be some fucking speed or something in there to fuel that up. But...
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're a political activist, like you're running a terrorist organization, yeah, you probably age like dog years. Like
presidential years.
that's not
you know?
that's not exactly a laid back lifestyle.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't sleep much.
stress tends to tear you down.
You never know when you're gonna get caught by the Yugoslavian government.
She still got them sexy smoky eyes. Those things never
Now
went
she just
away.
don't paint them on.
Yeah.
She's just born with smoky eyes.
Now she got a smoky face.
All right. Well, you guys got anything before we go?
Stay thirsty.
Stay thirsty, my friends. It was a pretty good little tale. It was a good departure from the norm. Get over there, get the little German action going. It was pretty cool. It sort of ran like a movie, and I dig those kind of tales.
The toughest things what I learned was some of these other, like having done like Joseph Rohack or Super Killer. I learned just stop naming the other people. At some point, like if they're not important, you just start saying these Russian names all the time.
Right.
It gets confusing. So yeah, when we're talking about these Europeans, we just eliminate like half the names.
You had to whittle it down to just one Hans.
You notice that's why, well, he was a victim, but you notice a lot of stories she was hanging out with her and a guy, her and a girl.
Yeah.
That's what, I'm not saying all these names. It's her and Shay. That was all. You can do your own research and find out who the guy and the girl was. Maybe we'll cover him another day. But that's what all those spots were.
So damn, fuck the who else would you want to hear a story about in this edition, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with guy 4.
Guy number 4.
No, who was girl 2 in college? The commune one? Who had the bombs?
Who had the rifle on the bike? Who was that?
No, other guy on bike. Not the
Other-
shooter, the
other
driver. Other guy on bike. Bike driver. Commando 4, bike driver.
What was up with that wife, like, with the roses?
I mean, he was a banker, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got a golden parachute or whatever they call it.
Golden parachute.
She might have won that story. As a matter of fact, Brigitte looks like a meth addict, and most of the other guys are dead. Like Jurgen's wife. Like, it hurt pretty bad for a minute, but what are you gonna do? Just move on with your German life.
Just move on with your German life. And those are words of wisdom from your show today.
All our German listeners just unsubscribe.
Thanks.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck you.
Sorry.
So that's it.
Hey, we got the New Zealand listeners.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Whatever. And they speak English. So hot, Germany.
We're just playing Germany. You go live your German life.
I think that's an edit point.
Well, I mean that might suck. Like, what if they don't like Brigitte in Germany?
We didn't say hello to the German Idol.
Right, that is true. Because that's Kelly Clarkson. She's all the idols.
She's all. It's David Hasselhoff, and you know it.
Oh, it is for sure. All right. Well, this is say hello to the bad guy. Thanks for coming. And thanks for listening.